This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brevin Ryer. I'm the IC representative for the Data Center Facility Group. I'm going to take a little time here before we turn it over to the OCP Ready presenters to put something out to the community for your view and for your awareness. The charter, which is basically our operating document for the Data Center Facility Group, really hadn't been updated in about a decade. And so we worked with all of the sub-projects as well as the project leads to update this information. And now we have it ready to present here to the community and then to the IC for approval and establishment as our charter. I have placed a link in the chat where everybody can view this document. And what I'll do here is just take you through the high-level organization of it, and then you can view it at your leisure. The basis of it, or the start of it, is an overview and a background to where the data center facility project, how it was started, and why it's beneficial for us to have this as part of OCP. The scope of our project, high-level functional areas, would be power, cooling, architectural design, IT space layout and design, monitoring, control, and operations. Within those six functional areas, we've defined a example list of in-scope technology categories. Examples include facility power, where we have UPSs and electrical system design. You guys remember Facebook presented on UPS impedance and other aspects to the data center design. Cooling, we have a lot of cooling system work going on right now for the advanced cooling facilities. And through the other ones, we've defined these example areas for the six functional areas. We also define in here our sub-projects. We have the OCP Ready Facility Recognition Program, where we define its overview, scope, and key focus areas. Same goes for the modular data center. And same goes for the advanced cooling facilities. We also look and define our out-of-scope technology categories. These are areas that we are not currently intending to do any work in, but that does not preclude us in the future from bringing these into our space, but we just currently are not. So please review the document if you see fit. Provide us any comments if you see anything that needs to be changed or we need to focus on. And I appreciate your time. Who should I pass the presentation to?
Thanks, Brevin, for that. Can you pass it through to Stefan, please, to start the presentation on behalf of Maincubes? And then Joyce is then going to take over from Stefan. And then everyone just following the presentation from Maincubes, then we're going to have Chris Miller, AC Lee from Chayora to then present their facility after Maincubes have presented theirs. Thanks, everyone.
Stefan, you should have presenter now.
Yeah, I am just opening the right document. Sorry for that. I thought the document would be shown by Mark, but that's fine. Okay, there we go. So we are presenting today our data center site Amsterdam 01, which we want to have certified as OCP ready. So what we have done here is we've acquired the site in 2016, 2017 and started a huge refurbishment valued 12 million euros. So to build a total white space area of 4,400 square meters, containing a critical IT power of 4.7 megawatts. We have a huge amount of network providers available on site. We have A Fiber, BT, CenturyLink, Cogent called Coolwave, EU Networks, Eurofiber Fibering, GPT, Interroute, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be, you can read them all. It's going to be 16 international carriers that we have on site. So there's no doubt that it's very well connected. By the way, if there are any questions, just let me know. And also regarding the Cone ready site assessment or the OCP ready site assessment, it would be too long to go through every kind of item. So therefore, we put a focus on some of them so that you could all actually well, raise questions afterwards towards these items and to additional items that haven't been addressed and you think that are important. So the data center has been is a non-purpose built site. Actually, it was a sort of a storage area, and we have rebuilt it to a data center area. So it was kind of fascinating on how to see that some of the things that are not purpose built were really good for us, really good to see that we can make use of it. And some of it wasn't perfect, but actually we made it. I think we found for everything, we found a great solution so that we now have a very good site available. What we try to achieve in Amsterdam 01 is actually we want to differentiate against the huge providers that are our competition. We want to do a bit more for the customer. We want to go into more detail. We want to go ahead in a way that we look at innovation kind of things and also have an ear for all the smaller type customers. So we have the site itself. We have rooms of various sizes. We have from 100 square meters to 1,100 square meters dedicated rooms. We have 4.7 megawatt of IT load, flexible IT load, and cooling capacity per IT room. So we can shift cooling and IT load within a certain borders between the different rooms. Standard rack dimension is 600 times 1000. It's in the first floor it's 42U and second floor is 52U. We can build security cages, dedicated cages in the larger kind of IT rooms. We can do that in smaller IT rooms, but that makes you lose a lot of space. So in all the cases, you have to look in detail whether it makes sense. We have cold aisle containments all over the place. So that's a mandatory. We have a guaranteed PUE of 1.6. We've also seen 1.4, and it was designed to go with 1.8, but we guarantee at least 1.6. Anyhow, we monitor the PUE, and if we do better than the guaranteed of PUE of 1.6, then we will recalculate and customer gets a refund. We have minimum power and cooling redundancies of N+1. Hotspots go up to 20 kilowatts per rack. I think that's very handy, very useful, especially for OCP requirements. As availability that we offer is 100%. Temperature and relative humidity 18 to 27, 20 to 80%. I guess you all have seen that before because these are the ASHRAE 1 standards pretty much. Service desk and service portal. The service portal is planned. It has been rolled out for the Frankfurt site already, and it will be rolled out soon for the Amsterdam site, through which you then can actually raise tickets, see all your inventory, see all your racks, the temperature, the power that you use, all online. 24/7 access for security staff on site, contracts under Dutch or German law, that's fine. Colocation customer data remains audible in Netherlands, EN, so regarding GDPR, that should be very interesting. And we already host the OCP, the European OCP Experience Center, so it's on our site. We've already made some events around that, so we brought from a certain conference, we brought huge amount of customers to our site to visit the OCP Experience Center, to have a look at what you can do in the OCP Experience Center, that you can play around with the kit, that you can experience the kit, and just to get a better idea about what OCP is. We can also do, we have a partnership regarding immersion cooling, so immersion cooling is definitely possible on site. We're working together with an immersion cooling company to have it available whenever a customer has a requirement for it. And obviously the PUE can be lowered, or can be even lower than the 1.6 or 1.48 if OCP or immersion cooling is used on site because of the efficiency of OCP and immersion cooling. Any questions up to here?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Very interested in how you provision to add immersion cooling. I don't necessarily want to take this audience's time to dive into it unless you have a quick summary, but that is the area of interest for the advanced cooling facilities, is to try to look at best practices, success stories, and how people are provisioning to add liquids in data centers. So if you either have a quick comment there, or we can just take it offline. What would you prefer?
Well, my quick comment would be that it has to, it's not that easy due to the fact that usually you have certain temperatures within your cooling mechanisms. So all your cooling pipes, they carry the same water temperature, which is usually far too low to increase the efficiency very well at its best, let's put it like that. Because usually you work with whatever 14, 16 degrees of water, and immersion cooling can also work with 40, 50 degrees water. So you can play around with water throughput and so on and so forth. But to go into further detail, that would probably go too far. But actually what we could do possibly is we could arrange for a call where we could bring our partner onto the call and ourselves and you, and then we can have a nice discussion if you like.
Well, your summary was perfect. In terms of it's exactly what we're looking at. The ambiguity that you just described is prevalent in the industry. I'd like to take this offline, probably add you as an invite or a guest to one of our future discussions, ACF. And I'll hang up the phone now. So thanks.
Okay. Very good. So what is really important probably also is that the data center is carrier neutral. We're connected to NLIX and AMS-IX. We can offer small kinds of internet service via partners, but we're not really interested in that kind of business because we don't want to compete with our partners. So we only try to do referrals here. We can supply redundantly via cross connects. Access to the Maincubes secure exchange is available, which means you can have connectivity to all global cloud providers, global data centers, and connectivity to global internet exchanges.
Stefan.
Yes.
My name is David from Alpha Lube.
Yes.
You write that there is hotspots up to 20 kilowatt per rack. Could you give more information what you mean by that?
Well, actually, we will probably not be able to provide a room full of whatever 100 racks with 20 kilowatts, but we can do a certain amount of racks with 20 kilowatts side by side. For example, we also have the first.
Stefan, may I interrupt for a sec?
Yes.
I think what is, because we are a little bit under a time challenge, I guess, in total. What I mean, just to give a very brief answer to that question is, we're definitely able, as we've proven already, to build racks up to 20 kilowatts. It's no issue to cool at all. depending on the room, we either have to amend the cold aisle, and we have some low density rooms that we do not even take into the equation when it comes to OCP. So I think to simplify, the answer is we can build racks up to 20 kilowatt, and depending on the room, end of the day, the number of racks is limited to the cooling capacity in that particular room. I will cover some of that in one of the slides regarding the OCP setup that we have already running. So if we need more detail, I think we take it offline as well.
Joris, I would have been quicker than you, but that's fine. Brilliant. That's more or less what I wanted to say. Okay, so delivery pathway access throughout the facility is higher than 230. As already said, we host already one installation and we had no issues rolling in the racks, no problems there. So definitely you will have no issues bringing in or rolling in your racks. Same counts for the delivery pathway and goods into white space, and the corridor floor rolling load also is not an issue. Anyhow, just to make everybody feel safe, on top of the floor rolling load is higher anyway as you would need. We use plates on top of them to make you feel absolutely safe. The elevator also is, the door is 230 times 180, so there should be enough room to roll the racks in, which gives us the opportunity also to use the second floor rooms. The white space, same here. Floor rolling load is high enough. We also use plates to roll equipped racks. Uniform load is 12 kilonewton per square meter. Floor concentrated 6 kilonewton per square meter. Finished floor to ceiling height, we have in some rooms we have 2.9 meters, in some rooms we have 4.5 meters. That's what I mentioned earlier on. We have different types of rooms with different types of ceiling heights because they have been built out differently when the building was built and constructed. Excess floor clearance is the same. It varies between 0.4 and 0.9 meters, but it's sufficient to run and cool OCP installations. We have proven that. Anyhow, anytime we set up an OCP installation, we beforehand do an exact calculation of the cooling, of the airflow, so that we definitely know that it will work and that we won't have any issues afterwards when the servers are in operation. And we never had any issues like that. Cooling is, the airflow direction is front to back. The air containment is cold aisle with downflow units, and obviously the cold air is delivered through the raised floor. But the good thing is that the raised floor is completely empty. We deliver everything from top or everything else. Maximum rack density, as Joris already explained, is depending on room load. Cold aisle width is at least 1200 millimeters, but for example, for the OCP racks, we do 2.40 meters. So that we can supply enough cold air that the OCP kit can survive properly and is run at a proper condition and temperature. Same counts for, well, hot aisle is exactly the same. So we will usually have the hot aisle a bit smaller than the cold aisle because it's a lot easier for the room to transport the air from there, but it's more important to deliver the cold air to the front. I think that's it from my end, Joris. If there's any additional questions, I don't know whether we still have a minute.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the exact timing is. Mark, I think we have another 8 minutes before we hand over to someone else.
Yes, yeah, I'd like to hand over sort of just before 4:05 or BST. So we've got another, you've got another about 12, just under 12 minutes.
Yeah, so if you can transfer to me, then I would like to talk you quickly through, a presentation to give you a bit more visibility on Maincubes and this particular site. So
would that be Joris?
Yeah, to
Yes,
Joyce, please.
please. Yeah.
Okay, coming your way.
Can you guys see the screen?
Not yet. No.
Might
Not
be
yet.
building. Hopefully it's gonna work right now. Just let me know.
Now it can.
Yeah, it's building up. All
Yep.
right. So I'm not gonna bother you with too many slides, but just want to give you a high-level impression of of Maincubes as a company, as well as the location. So I think we can already conclude. I mean, that's why the underlying statement is Maincubes Amsterdam welcomes the OCP project. We've done that welcome ceremony already by having the OCP Experience Center as well as live customer infrastructure, but I'll get to that later. Just for your information, high level, we are a company founded in Germany, in Frankfurt. So we are a truly European data center operator. Our focus is on co-location in conjunction with a marketplace that we, slightly different to some others, facilitate rather than try to dictate. So what is important to us is bring partners together with us and jointly serve the customer. So customer, in many regards, has a wide variety of choice. So we started reasonably shortly ago in terms of the first data center went live in 2017, which was a greenfield Frankfurt development mentioned in the bottom, Frankfurt 01. And then the Amsterdam site was bought, completely refurbished, and introduced to the market in Q3 2018. I mean, not too many details about the ownership, but we are kind of unique in the sense that we are the only independent European data center company with facilities in both Frankfurt and Amsterdam. We are part of the real estate vertical of the company called Zech Group, which is a company hardly known to people outside of Germany. But we're talking about a plus 10,000 employee size company with well over $3.5 billion turnover. So a company with some substance, I would say. So Maincubes is part of a company called Artinvest, which is 100% daughter of Zech Group and the market leader in real estate and land development in Germany. When I say major shareholder, I'm talking about roughly 75%, where the remaining 25% sits with our German executive team. So truly European in that regard. So two data centers available at current, Amsterdam 1, Frankfurt 1, where Frankfurt 2 has been announced. We've bought the land. We're in the process of initial designs and permits. And for your information, Frankfurt 2 and the new developments that we will do in future as well will all have a substantial flavor of OCP attached to it. So yeah, we're really looking forward to future developments, also in regard of OCP. Amsterdam 1, just a little movie, 1 minute.
I don't know if anybody realized, but there's no sound with this video. Yes, we see the video, but no sound.
All right. I mean, sorry that you were not able to hear the sound. I could obviously hear it, but I can share the video with you offline as well. I mean, you got the message. We are really into this development of new technologies, including OCP, including immersion cooling. So some of this stuff has already been covered by Stefan, so I'm not going to talk you through all the details. What is good to know is that whenever we build OCP, we do it in an OCP purpose room. So we're not going to mix up different technologies. As mentioned in the video as well, this is a data center where we have larger and smaller suites, and depending on the customer type, customer requirement, or technology purpose, we will choose one of the rooms. We are proud to have this experience center with us, which was a move that we did about 1.5 years ago. We see a lot of traction at the moment because it makes it rather easy for people to really see the technology, get some online demos that we do with our partners, Circle B or Rital as well. Circle B offers remote testing facilities. So yeah, making people acquainted with OCP has become much easier since we have this experience center, which also, for your information, is always available for any person that has any interest, and sits in a private room. So it's completely isolated from the rest of the data center rooms. As I mentioned before, we have a customer running, an OCP customer. We've done press releases on this one. This particular room, which is a 1/4 megawatt room, has been built for this OCP infrastructure according to the specs that are needed, obviously. So you see the 20 kilowatts again. You see the floor load. Certification and power, I think I skipped that one for you. Stefan has already touched upon that one, the services as well. This is a thing that I really want to mention because everything that we do in relation to OCP is a very strong partnership and collaboration with Circle B, one of your certified solution providers. And having them on board, I mean, physically at the data center location is a huge support, I think, for the community, for us as a data center provider, and last but not least, obviously, for any prospect and customer. I mean, they do everything from the discussion with the customer and getting the right gear to the server assembling. They deliver remote and smart hands within the data center. They arrange connectivity and maintenance. So I think the partnership Circle B and Maincubes is able to deliver turnkey solutions for any OCP customer. I mean, this is the one that I briefly mentioned, a global ad tech company that has chosen the OCP technology about a year ago. So they have really adopted this in their future deployments. I consider it a massive success. Customer is extremely satisfied with the equipment, with the performance, with all the benefits. So yeah, I think this is just a fantastic reference case that we're using also to attract more customers. Some of the next step that we have in mind, we really hope that presentation today will eventually and shortly result in getting the certification that will allow us to make some more noise and buzz around having the OCP ability in Amsterdam. In close collaboration with Circle B, there is a development of building like an infrastructure as a service platform completely based on OCP, available for customers on OpEx basis. We're working with IT Renew and Circle B in that regard as well. So yeah, I hope that we can do more and more on the basis of being a real OCP member and OCP ready facility. I think this is what we would like to achieve. Flexible, sustainable future starts with us in Amsterdam and together with OCP, the foundation, and all the members. So that's it from my side. If there are any questions, then more than happy to answer.
No questions, but congratulations. It looks like a very nice achievement.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Joris, can I ask about the temperature when start free cooling and PUE? As I understand, at 16 degrees you can start 100% free cooling, but you show the PUE 1.4, 1.6. It is partial load or full load?
No, so what we are doing, first of all, is we are now filling up the data centers. So if I would tell you the current POE numbers, that would not reflect where we would end up for sure. It is very hard because we are not using the POE as a marketing instrument. I'm sure you are aware that a lot of data center companies tell you that they can do 1.2 or even less with standard deployments. I think the majority of technicians amongst us do realize that with traditional IT gear, you won't be able to make 1.2, 1.3. You need to do, special tricks. What we have in mind is, we will communicate something about a POE per room in future, but depending on what the actual load in future will be and the mix of traditional versus OCP in racks and OCP as part of immersion cooling, that will obviously give us a number. If we would fill, just for your information and back to a previous question, if we would fill 2 megawatts of OCP based on immersion cooling, where the POE of an immersion cooling system is somewhere around 1.03, then you can imagine what it will do to the overall POE of the data center. So I hope that kind of answers your question, although I can't give you the full details, again, because we're building up the facility and filling up the white space.
Maybe one further information. When we had the heat generators in at the very start, we did run the data center at 1.4. It was designed to do 1.48, and we guarantee commercially the 1.6. So if you're above that, the customer will never pay more than the 1.6. That's how we run the site at the moment.
Thanks.
Okay,
great.
Any
Thanks,
more questions from your side?
I think we need to just move on now to let Chris discuss and share everything about Chayora's facilities. But anyway, thanks Joris and Stefan for your presentations. Great information, and thanks for sharing that. And looking forward to moving on to the next stage. And
thank you very much.
And sharing it with the community. Brevin, could you pass the presenter over to Chris Miller, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Hello, gentlemen. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Chris. Thanks.
Right. Hello, gentlemen.
Loud and clear.
You can probably see that I'm sporting my ridiculous COVID moustache because I hadn't shaved for a bit. Look, very pleased to be on the call. Couple of admin points. AC Lee, who's our Director of Engineering, is in Tianjin, where our data center is located in China as we speak, ready for service on the 30th. He's in the middle of testing and commissioning, and it's just gone 11:05 in the night there. He can't log on to GoToMeeting. In fact, anything other than Teams and Zoom doesn't work in China internationally, so we're a bit struggling there. So I've got him on WeChat on the phone. He can hear you, and we'll try and get him in as and when required, because it's his baby. But I'll just do the best I can. AC's on there. AC, if you want to say hello and see if that works.
Oh, can anyone hear me? Is it fine?
Yes,
can people
we can
hear
you,
that?
AC. Yep, we can. Thank you.
Yeah, they can. Okay.
Great.
So if we quickly go through cancel, I can't see this. Get that out of the way. How do I get this out of the way? Yeah, I'm not used to this. I'm a Teams and Zoom person, unfortunately. Okay, so thank you very much for inviting us into this process. We've been working with the Uptime Institute, with the OCP guys for some time. John Laban back in the day, and so Chayora, we're building data centers specifically in China, mainland China, and China alone. And we've been doing it, we've been in that market for some time, since 2013, and it's taken us a long time to go through the processes to buy the land, to get the power connected, to get the licenses to operate in China. It's very complicated. But we're always in a mind when we're talking to the OCP guys when we started to make sure that the first facility we built, physically, we built with the OCP in mind. So the size of the doors, the floor loadings, loading bays, lifts, all those things that actually we all know are really, really tough to re-engineer after the event. From an MEP point of view, and AC, we are going live with the first 4 megawatts, one data hall on the 30th of September. So if I quickly go through this spreadsheet, and hopefully most of it's self-explanatory. So first phase of the building is going live on the 30th of September. It's 2 1,000 square meter halls, one fully loaded in terms of MEP for 4 IT suites with 1 megawatt of IT load per suite available. Planned 18 megawatts of IT load for the full facility. So that will be 6 data halls of 1,000 square meters in the full facility. And you'll be seeing photos and plans of it in the presentation. It's quite a big facility. And we're working in a campus scale. So we're kind of bringing the sort of Ashburn sort of concept to China. And Tianjin, just to put it in context, is about 120 kilometers southeast of Beijing. But it's a pretty big city in its own right. It's got a population of circa 16, 17 million people. It's just China, it's big. So we've been sort of coached and worked with MIIT, the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, to start driving forward standards, international standards, carrier neutral data center infrastructure in China. And so that's what we're being tasked to do. So the data center is carrier neutral as much as it can be in China. So we've currently got China Unicom, China Telecom, China Mobile, CITIC, China Broadband, and Telstra PBS connected. And so the focus was international customers, but with the OCP, we all know that there are Chinese members too. So the likes of Inspur and JD.com and Ali, they're also people that we will be talking to and have been talking to. So we did the original assessment on the 7th of August. And, you know, you've got a chance to see this, you know, because AC is on a phone. I guess it's kind of difficult to sort of go through it in detail, but if there's any questions, what I'll reiterate from a physical point of view, we made sure that we were taking on board what the standards were back in the day and continue to do so. The first data center that we've built is a multi-tenanted data center, but we've got facility space to do build-to-suits for whatever people actually require. But the first, as I said, data center TJ1, that is live as of 30th of September, was built in mind to have OCP capability, because we could all see that the future of technical infrastructure was probably going to go down that route where it's more open standards, and actually the tin is becoming less relevant. It's how do you support that tin. So I'm going to go through this. If there's, you know, as I said, you know, we've got you know, cargo lifts of 4,000 kilograms. The door heights are sort of 3 meters. We just made sure that we're looking at you know, having the flexibility to put whatever infrastructure, IT infrastructure that's required in physically into the facility. When it comes to actually supporting it from a cooling aspect, that's a slightly different issue. However, we will come on to that later, that we've been, the facility's been designed to a PU of 1.19, and the data halls that we've been building are in 4 suites that can be controlled from a PUE perspective. And from the CFD modeling that we're doing and have done, we're very confident that we can go from 1.8 to 1.4 to 1.2 very rapidly in each of those suites. Any questions so far? Hello.
Oh yeah, no questions there.
Okay, great. So yeah, as I said, it's quite difficult because AC can't see it, and he's the person that would be going through this line by line if required from a technical point of view. But the key point is that we built it in a modular format with energy efficiency and flexibility core to the way that we're doing things. So I think actually, without going through, I mean, everyone can read this, and if you've got any questions offline for AC, then we'll be more than happy to take them on board. I think maybe we just go straight through to the presentation, and there's a little more technical understanding of what we've done on that presentation. Are people happy with that? Unless you want to go through line by line, if there's any issues on here.
No, that's fine, Chris. Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
we can review this offline. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the issue, and it's something that we're sort of having to educate people around the globe, is that certain technology doesn't work in China, particularly when it comes to video conference calls. And things like Google Docs. That's also pretty painful. Okay, let me just switch over to presentation.
So Chris, Don Mitchell here. Quick question. Same thing as I verbally said earlier to Maincubes, was the nature of how, or if you have plans to integrate liquid cooling in data centers. We are trying to put together some vision and best guidance practice on that area. Don't know if you want to go through that today or take it offline.
No, well, I think absolutely. I spoke to Mark about this, and you know, from an engineering point of view, we're agnostic to technology. You know, we are trying to work with whatever the leadership is, and we all know that, you know, ultimately a liquid is probably the best route. But AC,
I can answer this question.
Go on in.
Yeah. Can you hear me? So specifically, you guys talk about liquid cooling, right? So what we have in this site is that we have a dry cooler that actually do a pre-cooling on the site pretty much. So we employ 18 degrees chill water, or condensed water. So should you use any of those water cool, we can actually hook up directly to our dry cooler system. So we're actually ready for liquid cooling technologies pretty much on the get-go, because we have nipple points from our pipes that we can actually link up to liquid cool systems if and when required.
Fantastic summary. You've answered my question. The only thing possibly is how to standardize what you're saying, or if there are industry best guidelines that would make it simpler, is what we're trying to work on with the advanced cooling facilities. I'll just take this offline and maybe drop you an invite if you ever want to participate in one of our calls, or just send some insights on what your thoughts are. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. And
right, so okay.
Okay, so I was going through the presentation now. So AC, you can't see it. So first page, second page, just a couple of bits and bobs just for people, you know, just to put it in context. China's big, and the opportunity for the OCP community is big. So just put it in context. 1.4 billion. It's compared to North America combined, New Mexico, US, Canada, the whole of the European Union, and the whole of the former USSR combined, plus 10%. It's just a big place. And what are we doing? I think I mentioned before, we're building sort of hyperscale. So I guess we're like New Jersey to New York or Manhattan, Slough to London, Tianjin to Beijing. This is like an Ashburn kind of philosophy. So we've got a big old plot of land, you know, circa 32 hectares plus 40 hectares. We've got 300 MVA of power committed by the Chinese state grid. We have access to 100% renewable contracts as well. 7 individual land titles, so people can do project by project. And you know, each facility from a planning perspective with the local planning agencies are rated between sort of 12 and 36 megawatts per building. But there is some flexibility there. That's what it looks like in reality. It's not a render. That's the first part of it. Now, you know, it's a big office space, bit of glass and so on. It didn't cost much actually in the scheme of things. It was just part of the you know, educating the local government. They wanted to make it look sort of quite techy, and so we've complied. It doesn't mean that the next ones will look like that, but it's you know, it didn't cost much in the scheme of things. And actually, the office space allows people, because there were tax benefits of being on the site in China in terms of importing your equipment without any tax, and other tax benefits that are available should you register your office in the facility. Multiple tier connections. As I said, you know, China carrier neutrality is a bit of a misnomer, frankly. The vast majority of data centers are controlled by China Telecom, China Unicom, and China Mobile. And they may have the other carriers in there, but doing sort of, I guess, peering is something that's is pretty difficult at the moment. So we, as a business, working with Telstra, but with Yali, our head of networks, we're working with the Chinese local authorities and national authorities, looking at to become a truly carrier-neutral internet exchange and a cloud exchange. So carrier-neutral, cloud-neutral, as I call it, Tianjin T1 C squared. So that's the building. So the first part's actually been the first bit. This is what the photo that you saw. We built this, which has two 1,000 square meter data halls, giving a total of 4 megawatts per hall, 8 megawatts, and then a further 2 sections of the building, all the pilings in. That building is going to be put up, the metal framework, starting in the new year, without any impact on production here, so that there'll be the contiguous space built by the end of next year. The design concept specifications, which align to the information that we've put in the spreadsheet, we think, you know, it's not rocket science. We just think it's best practice that's current, and ensuring that redundancy and resilience is at the maximum at the lowest cost without affecting your uptime. We're also quite strong on security, and I think that that's something that I know that the OCP have started to look at as well as part of standards. Security of data centers in China is a bit of a lottery, frankly. Having said that, the chances of someone breaking into your data center, as someone would do in New York or London, is minimal because of the consequences. But nonetheless, we are going down the routes, very aligned actually with what Google presented with Joe Carver recently. But you know, we've made sure that we're doing the security that will attract and make sure that multinationals and banks are very happy with what we're doing. And we're also very conscious of moving towards what we call sort of pandemic ready, is to try and make everything touch free as best we can going forward. So that's another aspect. It's just showing it in more of a graphical form. So you know, there's 6 layers of physical security and you know, 9 layers of sorry, 6 zones, sorry, and 9 layers. Yeah, thanks, AC. So I'll hand over to AC. AC, we're on the power topology piece now. If you just want to quickly go through that.
Okay, thank you very much. Can everyone still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you,
we
AC.
can.
Thank you.
Yeah, they can hear you, AC.
Hey, thanks. Okay, great. Okay, so what we have is that we have 4 HT feeds that's feeding to our current data centers. We have HT A, B, C, and Delta. And all of this is supported by genset systems that's based on COP, a continuous operation type, that have a dual synchronization system and a dual bus bar that's feeding towards all of these HT feeds. Now, should any of the HT feed fails, it will cut over and directly the genset system will directly feed over to this. Our design for the genset is that it will synchronize and cut over to the load within based on tested is about 12 seconds. And then our general topology for our UPS system is based on 2 types. The first primary type is based on DR type, distributed redundant N+1. We also have a separate 2N system UPS system E and F. That's for customers that want higher redundancy based on 2N. From here we can have a distributed recurring DR system, ABCD, and a 2N system, UPS system E and F. Our UPS system is based on the modular UPS system. So all our UPS system is fully modular. We based on 50 kVA modules. So in this case, it's more like a plug-and-play system where should any of the module fails, we'll just replace the modules with an existing system. So even if it fails, we can replace it without shutting down or going to bypass system. So this is just a general overview of the electrical topology. Does anyone have any question before I move on?
I'll take that as a no. Okay, we'll move on.
Okay, great. Okay, our cooling systems, it's not showing the slide, but where we employ wall fans in our data halls. So the wall fans is fed from both a chill water systems and a dry cooler systems. The majority of the cooling is actually done by the dry cooler. I call it the economical feeder, where we actually use the ambience to cool down a bit, and the chiller systems, which actually do call it more like a trim cooling, which cools down the data centers to its desired temperature. Now, what is different from the rest of the competition is that we control both the cold hour and hot hour temperature and maintain it at roughly about delta T about 15 degrees Celsius, even at loads as low as 25% loading. The reason we're doing this is because if we maintain a 15 delta, we actually have 40 degrees return at the hot hours. All right. So we take this 40 degrees hot airs and we use it to we cool it down, pre-cool it down using the dry cooler. The advantage of that is that we're able to do a certain amount of free cooling even in summer. Based on our calculations, is that during summer we can cool down as much as 50% of the heat load, and once we in other seasons we can cool down about 100% of the heat loads. So basically, our chiller systems only function, I think, in summer, and we only support less than 50% of the total IT loads. Now, I want to pause here in this, and I want to see if anyone have any questions regarding this concept. No? Okay, good.
Okay.
So the key point of this concept is that yeah.
Well, yeah, go on, AC, carry on.
Okay, so the cool point about this concept is that we're able to maximize our cooling pretty much on all 4 seasons. Due to this, we're able to maintain annualized PUE of 1.19 throughout the year. All right, and on top of that, our topology is, as you can see here in the graphics, is a chiller dual ring system. We have a central ring. It's able to isolate it at the individual point that we can isolate AHU to an M+1 system, and then we have 2 wings of a chiller, adiabatic chiller as well. That is on the left and the right side. So it's a double ring concept in this. Our design for this is based on uptime constructed, so it's based on that. Now, if there's no further questions, maybe we can do the. I don't know. Is there anything else, Chris? They want to?
No. Well, that's it. I think it's going to go to. No, but thank you very much. I will just go to the last. It's any questions, gents? I'll stop sharing.
This is Gabby from Positronic. I have a very quick question on the cooling. It doesn't. The diagram didn't show the management of transfer of heat from the racks to the outside coolers, to the chillers. Is it a rear door heat exchanger via and then fluid transported out and recirculated back in, or is it forced air?
No. Okay. The best way I can explain is our AHU, our wall fan AHU have a dual coil. The best way I can describe is dual coil. the first coil is cooled down by the dry cooler. So imagine the 40 degrees air. So it passed through the first coil. So this first coil will cool down the air from 40 degrees to roughly about, in summertime, 32 degrees. But in other times, we have a total capacity to cool it down to the desired temperature of roughly about 23 degrees Celsius. So the second coil is actually go to the chiller, the chilled water system, which actually acts as a trim function. So if the first coil is unable to cool down all the heat load, it will go through this chill water and we cool it down to the desired temperature. Both coils is based on 100% chill water loads, cooling loads. So either coil is capable to cool down the entire data center loads. All right. Obviously, the dry coolers can only do that when the ambient temperature is suitable. But in Tianjin, that's basically roughly about 80% of the time.
Thank you.
On top of that, we maintain the hot and cold house temperature at a constant 15 degrees Celsius once we hit the 25% heat IT load. How we do that is that we have a whole series of temperature sensors that sprinkled throughout the data center, both in the cold and hot out, which actually modulates the fan speeds in the AHU. We actually maintain the fan speed at a very low speed until it hits the desired delta T, and then after which it actually modulates and maintains that delta T. The chill water valve and the condenser water valve actually modulates the cooling capacity actually.
Okay.
So we'll actually maintain a lower fan speed whenever possible.
Okay. Thank you,
AC. Thank you. So inside the data, in the white space, you have aisles with hot air and cold air aisles, right? And you move the air through.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
We employ hot air containment. So we basically move towards 100% hot air containment. Our hot air containment is based on my experience. We can do 15 kilowatts with no issue. I can even go higher, but I've never tried before. So we can guarantee a 15 kilowatt per rack with basically no additional type of cooling. It's just basic hot air containment actually. Right.
Thank you, AC.
Because we control the hot air.
Yeah. Thank you. This is good.
Yeah, and of course we're happy from an OCP point of view that if people want to inquire further, we're more than happy. And once, I mean, this is once AC's got the testing commissioning completed. He's very busy at the moment. So AC, thank you so much for joining at 11:30 at night in the middle of testing commissioning. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Yep.
Otherwise, I'll let AC go. Okay, AC, thank you. I'll be in touch. Thank you, mate. Good night.
Great. Yeah.
Thanks, AC.
I hope to answer more questions. But fine, no problem then. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Great, thank you, Chris and AC. I think
No
he's gone now. That was great. That was super run through of your facility and the site assessment and what you're able to offer. So yeah, that's been marvelous. Two different types of facilities. One more traditional that's been modified and upgraded to accommodate OCP hardware, and one facility that is being newly constructed, and both being able to take OCP hardware and be OCP and certainly meeting the site requirements. So thank you very much for everyone on the call, and for you guys sharing the assessments with us. Yeah, Bevan, anything else to add for the call today?
I think we're good. Thank you very much for everybody coming in, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for giving us the opportunity, and take care to all of you. Hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot and stay healthy.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Peace. Bye-bye.
You still on there, AC?